And we're live! Welcome to another Wednesday chat.
Hello, hello.
And this time everything should behave all right. We went through...
Should.
Well, last time we went through all of the settings of OBS and made many adjustments, including ones that we thought were already on there. And, then made sure all those adjustments were still there when we turned on the computer today. So the downside to using a computer that you only turn on every week or so is that, computers, at least Windows and probably Apple, because they're all trying to take over the world, is that they always want to just sit on all the time and just download stuff in the background and not even tell you that it needs an update particularly. Just sit and update a bunch of stuff in the background. So when you have it off and it just can't do that, I think it makes it very angry. And then it wants to pretend it doesn't have updates to do, but it really does. And then while you're in the middle of trying to get things coordinated, you're wondering why, your computer is at 60% CPU capacity, and then suddenly nothing's working, and then it's like, well, you really should update, or turn off the computer to finish updates. It's like,
You were updating?
Thanks, fella. So anyway, happy Wednesday to you all. Last Wednesday of June. We're about to be halfway through the year completely. Like this upcoming week, we begin the second half of 2022, and oh my gosh, it's flying like a bullet. So anyway, hello again, welcome. If my voice sounds weird, it's because I had the flu this last weekend, so that was exciting. I got more sleep than I think I've gotten in years, though. So at one point, sleeping like 16 hours in one day, I was like, oh, this is nice. I should do this more often. Ho-hum. So, and the other thing is, if you're wondering why the thumbnail was repeated, it's because, dang it all, I really wanted to talk at least a little bit about Darktide, which I didn't get to do last time because we had technical difficulties. So for real this time, Darktide, it's going to happen. And if you're new to the channel, or if you're new to this live stream, welcome. Appreciate you all coming in and checking it out. I've got with me my friend Flo.
Hello, hello.
She's the, good painter of the two of us, and, well, better than good, but, she paints a lot of the miniatures, and over the last probably couple of months, you got the Necron army completed, a 500-point Necron army completed.
The combat patrol, yes. I do have a little extra than that, but...
You did more than that, but yes. And then what are you working on today?
I am working on the Malifaux crew again, because last time my eyes were still healing, and it took a lot of effort.
Nice.
So today, I can actually work on it.
Love it. All right, let's see. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the channel, or welcome to the chat. Appreciate you being here.
Hi, everybody.
My mom's laptop is permanently downloading updates as it is rarely on. Yes, it is a nuisance. Thank you, Paul, as always, for being here. He's my moderator, so he's the one who throws you out if you say naughty things. Shale, welcome. Melinda, hey, girl.
Hey, Melinda.
We were talking about Denver. We might reach out to you soon. Yes, what is good painting people? Robak, welcome to the chat. Welcome, Austin. Oh God, I'm so late. I'm still on walkies. Oh goodness. All right, yes. So welcome to everybody. So Flo, Kithan Lane, welcome.
Hi.
So, as this is a paint and chat, I do want to always open with the question, what are you all working on? So that we can hopefully all kind of inspire each other or somewhat encourage each other to keep grinding our way through this hobby so that the pile of mountainous blobs of gray models become beautifully colored piles of resin and plastic. Denver's waiting to hear from you. All right. You said you're working. What made you decide to work on the Malifaux crew today? And this is the old English Ivan?
This is English Ivan, yes.
Yeah.
I am currently... Well, English Ivan is on a little spinny table. I am currently working on Mr. Mordrake because I finally decided what kind of colors I wanted to work with for the shadow creatures.
And what color are shadows today?
Well, Before I was kind of testing around with just a gradient from black to gray, but I've decided that I want to make it a little more of a brownish beige. You know,
Kinda a little more rustic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be more rustic and it'll look a little bit more natural than just pure black.
Yeah, black and white can be a bit striking, so that definitely mirrors it into the Malifaux. And Malifaux has a lot of like sepia tones in it, so I think that makes sense. Paul, I've been painting Blood Angels Death Company recently. Ooh, nice. Austin, I'm trying to wrap up my second TEP. Excellent. Todd, working on Lady Carriana Rose for my Grimkin. Oh, she's a fun one. I haven't even assembled her yet. I need to go on that.
But I got that model for you.
You did? Hi, Red Green. Shale, painting a lance of mechs for BattleTech tomorrow. Finishing up the clan side of a campaign, inner sphere side next week, then a few weeks of regular missions, and then a new campaign format. So do you have to keep painting to keep up with the campaign, or is that just something you're doing as a personal challenge? Kathana Lane, it looks like a tarnished copper or bronze statue. Yeah,
well, that's just regular English, Ivan.
Yeah, he's not the shadowy one. But he controls shadows? What happens?
I am currently painting his shadow, Mr. Mordrake.
Mr. Mordrake. So is this like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde scenario?
I am not extremely familiar with it. I have not read his lore yet. This is DJ's army again. I don't have any of mine ready to go.
Gotcha. Got it. Todd, got to make sure your otherworldly shadow monsters are natural looking.
Yes.
Not of the world, but kind of the world. Thomas, finished some Iron Kingdoms minis and a giant snake painted as a ball python.
Ooh,
lovely.
I miss my ball python. She was cute.
Okay, Kit. Yeah, actually, for the Iron Kingdoms stuff, just as a quick update, I just got my Borderlands and Beyond books in this past week while I was, sleeping 16 hours a day, so I haven't been able to do anything with it, but I got them in, and it's like the core book, and then there's like an expansion, and then there's the setting, which takes place in Ios, so I'm really curious to read how they explain that setting, because there's not really much explained about Ios yet, although maybe there is some in the actual Borderlands and Beyond book, so we'll have to take a look.
Look-see.
Paul, I own one BattleTech mini now. My local indie store is selling the Tops mystery boxes. One clan invasion mech for £7-ish. Okay, not bad. I just did an IG city chick with a chainsword and a shotgun. Fair enough. Yeah, no, the BattleTech stuff seems to have had a whole new packaging. The last time we were in the game store, we saw that BattleTech had more of these probably easier to get into the hobby versions of the boxes, little kits to start, little, what were you calling them, lances? Oh, okay, Thomas, you got your Borderlands and Beyond as well. Yay! So, cool to see that getting in, arriving in time, so I'm enjoying that. Well, I plan to be enjoying that, I should say. Shell, I'm running the campaign. So what I'm painting tonight is op for tomorrow. Oh, I see. Atlas AS7K Warhammer WHM 6RB Archer, ARC-2RB, and Thunderbolt TDR5-SB. Well, all right. Those sure sound like a lot of letters. Paul, my indie store has went way into BattleTech, so I'm looking into it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Albuquerque loves its BattleTech. One of these days, I might give it a shot. I mean, it's big stompy robots. It's the thing to go for, right? So, all right. Well, before I forget, and before any other ridiculous technical difficulties try to invade my stream, I did want to share about Darktide. I know that there's tons and tons and tons of video games coming out on all the Games Workshop stuff out there because they, pretty loose with their license, and you get some hit or miss games with that. But one of my favorite that's been in the Games Workshop world is Vermintide and Vermintide 2. Like, the game is just hella fun. And unfortunately, I don't get a chance to play as much as I would love to. But whenever I do, it's always a really, really good time. And Paul can attest that, you know, the game itself for Vermintide 2 has just been, it's one of those hack and slash first person games that just is a fun adventure, and you play these characters that all have these really strong personalities and they have to work together to get through all these missions. And it just ends up being this really like casual good time that you can just hop in and play a video game in that way you used to be able to play a video game, where you hop in, you do a mission, and you don't have like 400,000 cutscenes or, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that you have to keep track of. Or if you get away from it for a while and you come back to the game, you're not getting your butt kicked over and over like when you come back to Hollow Knight after a year. So Vermintide 2 is actually just one of my favorite video games ever. And the company that does it, Fat Shark, is coming out with Darktide, which is coming out in September, I believe September 13th. And there's a bunch of coverage of it, like several weeks ago. Luton09 did a deep dive lore into the Hive City that Darktide's going to take place in. What is it called? I wrote a note, Atoma Prime, which is this continent-sized Hive City. And so Luton, who, if you don't know about Luton, like, you should know about Luton, because, oh my gosh, he's the best way to enjoy 40K lore, as far as I can tell. There's a lot of really good channels for enjoying 40K lore, and so, you know, definitely don't take away from others, like 40K Theories is also really good. But, you know, Luton has these really in-depth videos that talk about all kinds. I mean, he had a really cool one on, like, Last Guns a while back. But he did a deep dive into the Darktide world, and it was kind of fun because Fat Shark reached out to him to do it. And so they're really, really involved in the community. They're super cool people. This is this like small company out of Sweden that manages to make this like amazing game. So they're not like AAA, they're not these huge companies, and they're coming out with way better products than what AAA is coming out with these days. I'm looking at you, Blizzard. So all that to say is that once September comes out, I'm hoping that I can clear my schedule enough so that I could just live and breathe that game for a weekend. So I might be Twitch streaming it when it comes out, just FYI. Yeah, so that's kind of my plug. Darktide is a similar hack and slash gameplay, but instead of being in like the fantasy world of like dark, you know, the end times, it's actually in just 40K, right? It's in the Hive cities that we know about from the lore. And you can play, I think it was 4 different classes. They have a Zealot, a Veteran, an Ogryn, and a Psyker that you can play. And they're all unique characters that have strong personalities and a ton of voice acting dialogue as well. I remember hearing that like some 75,000 lines of voice dialogue were recorded for this game. And but you can like customize the actual characters you play more aesthetically to your liking, which is a little bit above what they did for Vermintide 2. So for people who want that, that's also a really cool feature. I don't know how I would necessarily customize. I'm kind of thinking I'd want to play an Ogryn right now, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything about Darktide, or if you even play the 40K video games, but my gosh, I'm so excited for it. In fact, the last time I was this excited for a game, other than like Vermintide 2, because I knew they were going to do a good job with that, was when Dawn of War 3 was going to come out, and that trailer was just like this epic capture of the imagination kind of trailer. Excuse me. If I have to walk off because I have a coughing fit, just that might happen. Flo will have to keep you company.
You're all in trouble.
But I remember that trailer just sort of really capturing your imagination with the world and watching the Titans walking around, the way all the battles were unfolding, and it was like, oh, so cool. And yeah, Dawn of War 3 didn't work out that well. But all that to say, the Darktide trailer is also very exciting. And so, am I shilling for them? Yeah, a little bit. Did they ask me to? No. But I don't know. I want to see good companies do well, dang it. And when they actually come out with good stuff, like, it's so easy. So, that's my talk about Vermintide. It's super, super fun. But yeah, and also sort of a half plug over to Luton09 because he does such a great deep dive on it. I listened to it once and I did not absorb all of it, so I need to listen to it again. Yes, thank you, Paul, for confirming the September 13th date. I've not bought a AAA in years now, right? Hey, Blender Den, welcome. The only thing I'm not liking about Darktide is no cross-platform support. Looking forward to some Left 4 Dead with friends. Ooh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I've only ever played it on the PC. PC Master Race. Well, Paul, you play on the PlayStation, right? Like, do we cross there? Because I don't know if that's something that they might be able to do in the future, but that's a good question. Let's see, I was thinking as being a veteran for Darktide, as I like sniping, but they also have a chainsword. Dawn of War 3 trailer, truly the wild, wild west of game trailers. Yeah, it was great. Diplomatic relations have broken down between me and my Airbrush. Might impose sanctions later. Uh-oh. I was watching Miniac the other day and learned about, like, everything I need to know, apparently, about an Airbrush from him. So, thanks, Miniac. That was awesome. Really, really informative video about how Airbrush works. Like, just the fundamentals, right? And kind of what to look for in an Airbrush and all that. So, I don't know. As far as I can tell, all the main problems come down to, like, something being dirty, unless there's, like, just an actual malfunction in the little lever, needle lever. Let's see, like, get terrain from Dawn of War. And kits from GW, but see 3D prints of them. You can 3D print just about everything now, right? Cross-platform, I believe, needs more work and licensing bother. Ew. Hey, Jay Alex, how you doing, man? Let's see. We've only played Vermintide 2 on PC. I've only streamed my PlayStation before. That was like 2017 or 18. Oh, a little bit. Yeah, no, that definitely does put up a barrier. It's one of those annoying things, right? Like, cross-platform support is actually a whole lot like when you see like a superhero movie and you know that same universe has like another superhero or character, but they don't mention it. You know, like how mutants weren't allowed to be said in like any of the Marvel stuff forever and a day because they didn't own them. It's like that type of cross-platform issue where you're like, but you know, obviously they're in the same world, right? They're the same things, and it's like, no, we can't acknowledge that because paperwork says no. You're like, ugh, so frustrating. So maybe it's something they can solve, and I don't know, maybe not being able to solve it is one of the issues of being like a little company, but I don't know. I'd still rather support little companies at this point. Nothing like carbonation to keep keep your voice in check. I'm well. I'm streaming you on my tablet today. You've graduated to a bigger screen than my mobile. Thanks. Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, and I don't know, maybe to get ready for Darktide, I really need to do some more streaming or just playing at all of Vermintide. Do you guys get a lot of time to play like video games in addition to your hobby, or is it kind of like one or the other for you? Like, I keep running into issues of not knowing where my time went, and I don't even have the excuse of being like an alcoholic or a drug addict, so I really just don't know where it's gone. So, yeah, no. Where's all my time gone, Flo?
Have you seen how busy your schedule is?
Yeah, but without the things actually getting done, it's hard to feel like I'm actually like I don't know, whatever. It's frustrating. Oh yeah. So in other news, speaking of schedule, right before I got sick, let's see, it's either video games or the hobby for me, right, Austin? Like you really gotta choose your poison. Let's see, my hobbies go in cycles. I do a lot of painting for a bit, then I want to play games instead, then I want to do something else, and then I come back around to painting. Yep. Oh yes, that is, let's see, I thought you'd be super organized after the scheduling themed chat a few weeks back. Yeah, me too. But it's like, it's probably like following like a strict diet or something, right? Where you're like, well, today you're only going to do X, and tomorrow you're going to do Y and Z, and then you're going to come around to A and B on that day. And then like any little thing comes in and just,
Never mind. Guess I'm not.
you're like, or you have to replace all the tires on your car. Or, I don't know, you got the flu. Sucks to be you. Bye. So, ho-hum. Okay, it's either one or the other for me. Honestly, the hobby is so much, like, I say this as I'm, like, gushing on Vermintide and Darktide, but the hobby's, like, kind of a lot more rewarding in general. I've found, like, having my little physical minis at the end of the day to be like, but at least I have you as my friends. Whereas, like,
Look what I did.
whereas you're playing online, you're like, hey, random internet person, let's play together. And they're like, you suck, no, bye. It's like, oh. Although, to be fair, that's not really my online experience either, but, you know, I'm being dramatic. Thank you, Micah. I was about to actually mention that as one of the other things I forgot to mention. See, I get more video game time these days, way more. Do tabletop gaming, but waiting on the main indie venue. Oh yeah, that's right. I hope that the little place that opens over there like gets to stay in business, and GW doesn't come in like some mobsters and like torch the place.
Come in like Bill Gates in The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. Michael Gray. I also listened to the episode of Third Floor Wars you're on, Miranda. Didn't realize how deep you were into the tourney scene. Good on you. Sounds hectic. How deep I was into the tourney scene. I have not done that in a long time. You know, the problem became, just to answer that question, and I'll talk about the podcast, was just going to conventions, and if you go to be part of a tournament, that just ends up being all your time. And if you want to like socialize or network or something, you don't get much of an opportunity to do that. But I do want to kind of get back to it a bit, because there's a certain amount of like, I don't know, grounding, I guess, that comes with being part of a tournament. I was really happy that the last Adapticon I went to, which would have been 2019, me and Aaron were in the 40K friendly doubles, and that was just a blast. Like, the tournament scene is a lot of fun. I very much have enjoyed it. So, and I did rag on painting like way too much, probably in that podcast. So yeah, let me add a link here. So I was invited to be on a podcast with Craig Shipman, who is going to be one of the seminar panelists, teachers at Nova Open this year, and so he invited me to be on because I'm one of the owners of Nova Open now, and so it was me and it was Owen, who is also one of the people involved with Nova. He actually is like our guy in charge. So thank goodness for Owen, because he manages all the craziness. So the three of us were all online together, and we had a really good conversation about like convention life, what people like to see in a convention, what work goes into organizing events for other people involving the gaming scene, and just like, you know, the fun around gaming. And so yeah, part of that was asking my history of it. So I'm going to link here. This is the podcast that I was on if you're interested in listening to it. It's about an hour. It's like an hour 9 or something like that. But again, super fun, really chill conversation with people. Let's see. Plundered in. Sadly, not much video games these days. My hobby takes up most of my time. Right? It's like if you work at all, you just don't get to put your efforts into much else. Minis are easily more rewarding, or escaping a hunt from a revenant. Okay, I do love my Phasmo time. Like, so like we were on this last weekend, right? Was it this past weekend?
No,
it was Wednesday. It was last Wednesday.
I was gonna say, it wasn't, you got really sick over the weekend, so it wasn't during the weekend. Was
That's right. It was after we recorded the podcast. I was like, hey, I'm home. Let's get online and play. Because Phasmophobia had an update. And there's like 3 new ghosts that are so scary. And then they made all these updates that make the ghosts sneakier. And they have the new ghost that you can't even hide from. You've got to just run around and like hope he gets tired before he catches you. So, yeah. And it's always fun watching Paul get hunted because he's the most antagonistic to ghosts. Like, it's hilarious because he'll be like, oh, no, we got this. Okay, no, we've identified the monster. I'm at 30% sanity.
I'm gonna go get hunted.
I should get a picture of the ghost. Not that he ever gets a picture of the ghost. He just wants to go in and get hunted. So, it was good times. Let's see, but me, only 40k I get. Dawn of War, and I really like to get the mods. Yeah, I don't ever play with mods. Like, last time I played with mods was when I went all in on World of Warcraft Classic and did the whole raid scene and all of that. And then after that was done, I was like,
okay, I'm done.
Yeah, well, it's where you sort of like have a tiny little bit of regret. You're like, God, I put in a lot of work in that. And, and installed the game after finally getting the Might of Menethil and like 8 of 9 set pieces for my Dreadnought armor. But then you're like, this is just a video game, and it's like it just exists on a server. I don't get anything out of this unless I go print my Warcraft character. So, whatever. How often do you actually play a tabletop game? Question for everyone, I suppose. For me, it's once in a blue moon. It comes in fits and spurts. Like, if we actually get a chance to sit down and play a game, like, we could, have a really good gaming session in a night. And I mean, I've done tournaments, so it's not like I'm afraid of just playing multiple games end on end. But so much of it depends on like the group composition and what everyone else is up to. And I mean, if we get together, it's like we're together for a few hours. And so if we play a game, that's all of that time, or we'll do something else. So it's like you've got to dedicate time to that. That's one of the scheduling things that we need to sort out in here, because we do have combat patrol games coming up and brawl machine games coming up. And so we just got to get everybody wrangled. Or I've got to just start kidnapping people off the side of the road or something. I don't even know. J. Alex, I literally have a software-based solution that helps me with project management, work activities, and hobbies, all included. For me, fun and leisure is a line item on my agenda. Huh. Like that. Is that a good thing? Are you happy about that, J. Alex? I mean, I assume you are. That probably makes a lot of sense, and you probably get more done. I don't know that I wouldn't go crazy doing that, though. Let's see, Austin. A little miniature shop opened up down the street. They sell bits by the ounce. I have wicked plans now. Oh my gosh, bits by the ounce? Like, is that all they do? No, miniature. I wonder what all they sell. Owner, yes, I'm one of the owners of Yale Nova Open now. Just like there's a group of owners. I'm just one of them. And so we're trying to because it had to get sold, because the guy who ran it, Michael Brandt, started working for Games Workshop. And it's Games Workshop, and they're like, hey, you can't have anything else in your life that might pretend to ever compete with us. And so he's like, oh, okay. Guess this convention that's been around for 10 years either needs to get sold or die. So, it got bought, and so, it gets to still happen, and hopefully this year we'll actually see some good attendance. Let's see. Paul, my group don't like the new kill team, so we can't play at the old one at GW. We've started an indie venue, then it shut down. They're looking for a new place, so it's not often now. How often do you get to play? I mean, I know you do board games more often, but...
Not often at all. I get to play mostly when I'm here now. A lot of my gaming group left, so... Or we just haven't talked in forever.
Well, then that happens too. Like people will kind of grow apart, or they have the excuse of a pandemic to never see you again, or whatever, and then you kind of have to start over. Hello, Andrew. Good evening, ladies. Paul. Voices that may or may not be Menoth, our Lord and Savior. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Thomas. I will have to check that out. Let's see. Paul, you get to play in the pub. Yeah, I don't know how often we get to play in a pub.
I feel like none of those ever have enough space for playing.
Right? Like it's, well, I guess Kill Team isn't like a huge board, but that's kind of the, I'm used to the tables here at a bar or whatever being very teeny little things. Andrew, I was looking into printing models with a combo of the model Gore and Blender. Gore? I don't know that one. But I literally don't get Blender controls. Dude, like 3D modeling, watching any sort of 3D modeling software always literally looks like magic to me. Because I've watched 3D Studio Max get manipulated, and my brother works in Blender when he makes video games. And it's just like, I'm watching what you're doing, and literally it's not connecting to anything, and you just look like you're making stuff happen with magic. So it's a heck of a learning curve on that. I feel like you can face grind yourself into getting a certain level of understanding, though, so more power to you if you choose to do it. Let's see, Plunder Den. I play at least twice a week. I like to play test the new terrain I create. Ah, that's a good point. Fell out of with the gaming group, Flo. I know about that. Yeah, or Paul.
I mean, is it really that I fell out with them? I guess maybe. Everybody ended up having their own things to do, and
I don't know, like, people are weird.
I guess people actually want families and stuff, I guess. I don't know. That just seems like a hassle to me, children.
Gotta get a new paint pen. Paint pens dry up. Silver one.
Yeah, those don't work very great for me. No.
Whatever happened to our micron pens? I was all into our micron pens when I was wanting you to tattoo my,
I still have them.
Do you? Okay. I thought there's some around here. We haven't even tested them in a while. Shale was at my FLGS last week, and one of the players glanced in the trash. Someone had pitched a dozen sprues or so full of Space Wolf and Chaos bits. Some were pristine, not missing a bit. Oh my gosh. Am I happy? Yes, happier than when I lived by the seat of my pants. Self-disclosure. I'm autistic. My executive functioning differences, meaning I thrive with structure. Yeah, and I think part of me likes to, you know, in a contrarian way, like rebel against structure. It's like, I know I need it for these things, but I also need to disconnect from it and just like wander around sometimes. Otherwise too much regimen is just...
You start feeling stuck.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well for me on the long term. Kit, I've been looking for an in-person tabletop RPG game for about a year now. Well, so I know like local game stores usually have sign-up sheets for that sort of thing, right? Like you can get in and put in like a looking for group with one of those game stores. I know at Eton here in town, they even hire DMs to just run events. So, I mean, I don't know how local you are, but... Jeremy. Hi, I'm unfortunately sick as us right now, so I'm just laying in bed listening. I was right there, Jeremy, this last weekend.
She died.
Yeah, it was like a sore throat, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm probably catching something. I'll just sleep it off. 3 days later of just sleep. I'm like, oh, I guess I was sick. And then, even though I was not talking at all, my voice decides to go, which pisses me off, frankly. So, there's that. But yeah, actually on the topic of Yield Nova, since this was a whole conversation that we did have, like one of the topics that had come up was what do people like to see in a convention? And Michael Gray will know the answer because I was already talking about what I like to see in there, which is all kinds of tabletop miniatures. And it's kind of funny because, you know, being a co-owner, everybody's got like their different things they all like about about being in a convention. And so he has a lot more love for like the board game and the RPG side, which is totally fine. Like I have no animosity toward it or anything. But it's like, but this is what Nova Open was. Like this Nova Open's like a tournament. Like we need to have our miniatures. Like that's got to be the focus, right? But for those of you who've gone to like Adepticon or LVO or Tacticon or Genghis Khan or Indie Storm or any of the smaller, more local venue tournaments, like, is that generally what draws you to an event? The idea that, oh, there's a tournament happening and there will be vendors and there will be other events? Or would you go if there was no tournament? Just inquiring I'm making, I'm exploring what the public needs, I guess. I hear you, Jay Alex. No, I'm glad that you've got a system. I mean, honestly, everybody needs to find like a system that works for them, and clearly I have not found one that works for me, so honestly, like, kudos to your structure. Andrew started renting a 5x5 indoor storage unit for my models. The unopened 40K stuff occupies the whole floor, a foot high, and I have only moved 1/4 of it all. Need a shelving unit. Oh yeah, you can hide so much in shelves. If they still sell them, and you have like a Sam's Club membership, they have these great steel shelves that were only like $70 a piece when we moved into the studio. And they're 2x4 shelves, and I think it's 5 actual shelves high. Very sturdy, and they actually have like an ABS plastic as the shelf instead of like excuse me, instead of like MDF. I think is what it is. Yeah. You know, that particle board crap that is fine until it gets wet. But those are so great. Like, I highly recommend them, and they're so easy to put together. They're really well designed.
No dying, not allowed.
We'll see. Manoth John, hey. Hope you're well. For me, cons were about seeing friends. That's fair. But if you've not been to a convention before, you know, and you just have like your immediate group you're going with, or you go on your own, I found like tournaments to be a good place to also meet friends. And I know you've played in those tournaments. Whew. I need Gen Con. Hey Rich, how you doing, man? Man, Gen Con is so big. I don't know about that one. 65,000 in attendance. That starts to... You just have that feeling of smooshing through people. Like every time you want to go from one point to another inside the building. I haven't been to Gen Con. But when I went to PAX, like that was just... There's just too much human contact. Inadvertent human contact. Thank you. Let's see. Variety in games makes a good show. Adepticon is famously a 40K con. There was always room for lots of other games. It felt inclusive, which I assume most conventions want to do. I mean, I think LVO pretty heavily leans into like, hey, we're 40K, we do a bunch of the grand tournament stuff. And then, yeah, Adepticon. Adepticon is just like this beautiful amalgamation of games because they've had all this time to grow and they've got a really good support base. So I'd love to see something, I'd love to see Nova turn into something like more in an Adepticon way where it has that variety, like core 40K, core tabletop gaming, and then like all of these other things you can do at all hours of the night. Like Adepticon had the 24-hour bits bin guy out in front of the vendor hall because the vendor hall closes at Adepticon after a certain time, but that guy was like on the outside of the vendor hall, and so people were just there at all hours. You would just have like random conversations with people, or in just the halls of the hotel themselves, people would be playing Werewolf or waking up their drunk friend or just hanging out chatting and
Yeah.
having lore
The one
arguments.
time I went,
or-
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a magical experience. Kit, for me, the tournaments are what would keep me coming back after I've explored everything else, because my experience is that all the vendors and guests tend to be a little the same after a while. Fair enough. Little the same. Well, I mean, it's not like the vendors are going to change after you've explored them, right? Day one, the vendors aren't going to be different the next day. So there's certainly that. The actual attendees, though, that's probably going to depend somewhat on the games you're playing. For the most part, everyone's pretty happy. Like, everyone knows you go to a convention, you're probably going to spend even more than you want to spend, probably. And so for the most part, you know, people are talking about, like, the new thing they got or stuff they've traded. Oh, yeah, and I think at Adepticon they had trade stuff there, too. Like, people were selling their old stuff. Which is kind of a cool thing to have. Seeking the voice of the customer is a smart move. I'd want to see vendors, tournaments, and introductory how-to gaming demos. Yeah, I remember that at Adepticon too. Because outside the tournament halls would be these like 2x2 pedestals, 2 foot by 2 foot pedestals with like a demo game of War Machine, I remember. And I'm pretty sure they did it for 40K, maybe Kill Team even. But there's just all these different games that people who would represent the company or volunteer for the company, like back when we had press gangers, would stand out and just invite people to come play and learn the game. So that actually was a really cool point. As long as you have people to do it, exactly. I think Flo is waiting for Miranda to leave for a coughing fit so she can take over the channel and make it into the Angel Giralda style channel she's aiming for. Clearly. Is that your plan all along?
I have no comment.
No comment. No comment. A good game of Werewolf, you say? Ah, so many fun games of Werewolf. That's where Adepticons were actually, I think, played my first game of Werewolf. I didn't have, like, you know, camping experiences where people did the. I'm pretty sure, yeah, my first experience of that was Adepticon. Yeah, Uncle Adam loved the Bits guy being open up at all hours. Well, he ended up being this sort of meeting place, like just people would wander down to and hang out because you could browse and just kill some time. Because it's not like you're sleeping at a convention. I mean,
At least not much.
yeah, sleeping is when you've given up on the night and you've got to like just quit. But that's the other
When your
thing.
body's like, no more. You're like, okay, I guess.
And you're like,
I'll
I gotta
listen."
carry all this crap back to the hotel room, which is one of the benefits of actually staying on site, by the way, because holy cow, you can get encumbered. Let's see, the models look beautiful tonight. Thank you, Menoth John.
Oh, thank you.
These are
Thank you.
lovely Malifaux models from, what are they called? Is it Explorers?
Explorer Society.
Explorers Society, English Ivan on the turntable, and then Flo painting up his one shadow, right?
That's here. I'm just waiting for him to dry a little bit more and put him back on.
Oh, who are these? Are these more shadows? These
They're the
monsters?
Nocturnes, I think they're called. But yeah, they're shadows.
There you go. Yeah, it's like to get to the Bits guy. Can't get the new mail order? Yeah. Let's see, well, I went to Genghis Khan because someone was hosting an Iron Kingdoms game. But while I was there, I had a really good time learning one game and ended up talking to someone who was also local. That's one of the beautiful things about conventions. Like, you'll either... It's really funny to see people from your own local meta that just independently went. That's always kind of like, oh, you're into that. Okay, cool. But I don't know, there's always like con friends, right? Like just people you only ever see at conventions. And so even though it's like once a year, you'll meet up and it's like you never left and you're like, hey, how's it been going? Let's go to lunch and chat about this and that and the other thing. So that's always fun. I should hit a con again just to unload some of my less loved War Machine stuff. Oh, so much less loved War Machine stuff these days. I used to be a press ganger. Those were the golden years. I remember. Michael Gray says, more Malifaux. I'm working on it. You can throw your unpainted stuff on there. Or his shadow, if you want to show off where he's at now. And all his glistening goodness. Yeah. So that's his alter ego. Who is he?
Mr. Mordrake.
Mr. Mordrake. There you go. You get twice as much Malifaux, Michael.
Well, it was up there earlier, actually. I'm about to put this guy up there. Just need to finish his eyes.
Fine. But yeah, convention stuff is tricky because you are coordinating vendors who need to make time. And what about panelists? What about classes? Do you guys ever go to conventions like specifically for classes or specifically for seminars or to meet people, like to meet authors? I mean, I know Adepticon's had like GW authors there before and such, so is that like a big selling point for you, or is that more of a bonus if you're going anyway? And if you find like a group of people, do you all kind of split off to so-and-so's doing the tournament scene and so-and-so's going to take all the painting classes and so-and-so's going to clean up in the vendor hall and the other person's just going to like hang out in the bar or whatever? Like, I think for the most part, in my group, I was the only one doing the tournament stuff. Tommy was always network guy. And then...
Last year, Brooker was tournament
Oh,
guy.
Brooker was tournament guy. That's right, when we went to with Brooker. That's true. He did good.
I only went the one time.
You were like wide-eyed wondered, like, oh my gosh, this is so
Well,
much
it's
stuff.
tell you what, it's surreal if you go somewhere with someone like Miranda and everybody knows her. And then
Those are
as you're
good days.
walking around and you're like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, More Gamer Girl, can we get a picture? What do you think about this? And I'm just over there like, apparently I hang out with the cool kids.
Those were the days. I miss that. I should probably put more content out so maybe people will care again. Let's see. Do you do the So you just add to the Darktide. Standard edition gets you the game. Premium gets you a bonus character and weapon skins and some in-game currency, but in-game currency is only for cosmetics, not pay-to-win crap. Yeah, I don't agree with any of the pay-to-win stuff. That's exhausting and annoying. I've never gone to a con as a group, not for lack of trying. Usually I stop at a booth and I get left behind. I have been to precisely one convention, which was a law one my wife dragged me to. I spent my time pretending to be a lawyer, spouting made-up legal terms to confuse looking booth workers. Really? Just for the fun of it? Well, there you go. So, I don't know. I'd really love to meet the artists that do the box art, especially if they brought their original art to display. You know, I wonder how much that works these days because so much artwork is outsourced, like internationally outsourced even. Like when you think about, I don't know, magic cards or board game art especially, like, I wonder how easy it is even to get a hold of those artists. See, Fat Shark are too good and actually human and do pay to win stuff, yes. Got my packet for Gen Con, playing tons of Riot Quest. Okay. See, Gen Con seems like it's crazy because it's like an origins fair, right? Like you're getting sneak previews of brand new things coming out in addition to representation from all of these different tabletop companies. And so like I assume your badge comes with like a whole bunch of swag, from all these different companies that are coming to be part of it. I imagine Gen Con has like an enormous vendor hall. And then you do a bunch of game demos there primarily, right? Am I up the right tree here? Andrew, Permian Basin Oil Show. Worked booth for my company. It was less a convention and more of an adult trick-or-treating event. Nice. Love it. Trick-or-treating. I'm looking forward to Halloween. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Nova's so far on track and seems to be doing well. I'm very glad that there are the number of people who are involved making stuff happen. I was in charge of helping set up some of the seminars, so I'm like hoping all those go really well. And it was really cool getting to meet like the people who are going to be teaching there. We've got a ton of airbrush artists and people who do like the non-metallic metal.
Non-metallic metallic.
Which is funny because it's always like, hey, you're a really good painter. You should teach people. It's like, oh, are you interested in painting? I'm like, it's fine. But I know that most people are. So I'm happy representing people that don't necessarily mirror my interests. But yeah, it's good times. Good times. Oh, but Craig actually, I believe, talks about like being a GM as well. So we got to chat a little bit about that. We didn't get to talk too much about that though, because I'm gonna have to reconnect with him after we get a little bit more of our RPG show up and going, because that was one of my first like GMing experiences, and I don't know. It's one of those things like it's all recorded and it hasn't been like produced yet, so I can't get feedback on it. So I've had like 2 years to just become really insecure about my performance. It's really great. Let's see, 1 year, we still have no proof Miranda actually enjoys painting. Yeah, basically. I mean, I enjoyed painting on my paint and chats, but it's kind of an all-encompassing thing. Like you couldn't sit and chat the whole time, right? If you're painting, like you're kind of doing one or the other.
That's why I'm here doing it on your channel.
Exactly. All right, well, we've talked about gaming long enough. You know what else I love to talk about? Movies! So, I'm not even going to bother talking about Jurassic Park, because I didn't like it, but a lot of people did, and whatever, you do you.
It was terrible. That's what she wants to say. That's all.
I'm just impressed that a movie that I didn't have any expectation for managed to somehow disappoint me, but I'm used to all the things I love as far as old franchises being, taken over by some weird, like, I don't know, The Thing monster and just puppeting around my beloved IP. But it's fine. It's fine. The first Jurassic Park is still amazing. It's still a wonder. It still inspired my brother to become a paleontologist. Like, it's an amazing movie. So whatever, nothing can take that away. And but we've had a very few run of movies in which I would really say like the stories have been just solid, coherent, respectful of the audience, enjoyable to watch, well executed, well performed. And in a lot of movies you can look at, and the way I judge movies is usually in like different aspects, right? Because you can watch something like Jurassic World, and you're like, well, the art department really did their job. Like, wardrobe, boy, they did their job. The actors, they're doing their job, It's like, there's so many aspects to a movie, and so I'd rather pick apart, like, what part of a movie more fell apart than just say, oh, the whole thing sucked because the story was stupid and there's all these plot holes, and who would fall for this? But, also appreciate, like, I really liked how many dinosaurs there were. My God, there were a lot of puppets. So we ended up seeing the movie Black Phone, and OMG, I am so impressed with how good this movie is. And this is one of those that I think was set to come out pre-pandemic, because I remember seeing movie posters for it the same time I was seeing the Top Gun Maverick movie posters. And then the pandemic hit and everything got pushed back because they weren't going to stream those movies. They were going to wait till the theaters came back. And so finally they did, and I did so love Top Gun Maverick a lot. But I also really enjoyed Black Phone, and it might actually take over as the best movie I've seen all year. So it's a bit of a spoopy one.
I think Ethan Hawke's like the only recognizable actor in it.
That's true. It's a Blumhouse.
Really good kid actors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's a Blumhouse picture, which is, in the horror genre, and it's not.
It's right up my alley.
Yeah. So we took Flo to see it because it's like, and we'd been planning to see it. I thought this movie was going to come out in February, and then it got pushed to June. Whatever. So we saw it, and it's a horror, but it's not like hitting you with a bunch of jumping out crazy scenes or slasher scenes or whatever. There's a few jump scares in it.
A couple of them, but they're not.
But it's mostly
They're
like
not as manipulative. It works with the story.
Sixth Sense.
Yeah, it's actually pretty on par with Sixth Sense as far as like tone. And it's just, I was just so impressed with the story and how like cleverly executed it was. And those kid actors, I don't know that I've seen them in anywhere else in any other movies yet. Because again, like Ethan Hawke was the only notable like big actor in it. Man, they were good. They knocked it out of the park. I was so impressed. So impressed. I'm gonna catch up in here. I like the trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of.
I want to be over Marvel, but I'm not over Chris Hemsworth, so I'm gonna see it. Like, who am I kidding? But that's the last time probably until the next movie he's in. So, Hey Samuel, welcome. Let's see. Finishing up on Paul's thing. Let's see. With my painting, I'm like, this is level. I like my things to look on the tabletop. With gifts, I try new painting techniques. Yeah, no, you've done some really impressive stuff, Paul. Too Jurassic, too Furious. Yeah, it did kind of hit that level of that echelon of like if the Fast and Furious writers were writing Jurassic Park flicks. But it's like not quite enough to fully circle back to enjoyable again. Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. It looks like it could be fun. I am cautiously optimistic, mostly because I just feel marveled out. But I'm gonna see it. Don't tarnish the thing. I increasingly can't stand Chris Pratt, so I skipped Jurassic World. Well, certainly didn't miss anything. Agreed on IP degradation. For Predator 5, Prey looks pretty promising. Maybe. I think we saw one trailer for it, like a teaser trailer for it. I have liked exactly one Predator movie, so we'll see. Jurassic Park and The Lost World are based off the books. I know, I read both of those books, and even The Lost World really suffered heavily from monsteritis. I actually like Jurassic Park 3 a fair bit, though.
Yeah, I think the third one was much better than...
From what I recall, and it's been a while since I watched it, but it was like the animals actually... Because dinosaurs, in my view, when you're watching them, like, they should act like animals. Like, they should act like they're not just monsters trying to kill you all the time. So, let's see. I may now see Black Phone from what you messaged me. Dude, it's so good.
It's really, really good.
Morbius was also pre-pandemic. Yeah.
I mean, should have stayed there.
Yeah, that one could have gone away. Austin, I need to see Love and Thunder. Well, that one's not out quite yet, but yeah. Jurassic Park theme. Apparently I need to see this if Flo and Miranda both love it. It's just so well executed. So you have, I mean, if you've seen the preview, there's this kid who gets captured, and like there's this girl in the movie, and they both have these separate stories that converge and are so well told, and the story doesn't step on itself. The characters don't step on themselves. It's dark and really surprisingly mature. Like the content of the story, it's set in like the 70s, like late 70s. And so they actually did a really good job of reflecting at least what I understand is the culture and the time, and like the way kids acted to each other. And I don't know, it it was just really impressive. It's kind of as refreshing as when you watch like Stranger Things for the first time and you're like, yeah, this is what the 80s felt like. These kids, they're riding around on bikes and they're just doing kid stuff that kids did in the 80s, and you're like, they're doing that in this movie too, with the 70s setting. And the maturity level of the kids is just so impressive.
It's very real feeling. It's not one of those suspension of disbelief so far that you're removed from the film, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean,
I think they also spend the entire first act just building the characters and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
and you
really
don't
clever.
mind. Yeah, like they're actually just enjoyable to watch. So it was just, it's as refreshing as when I saw the outfit and it was just this neat and tidy, like well executed movie with a story that, again, obviously didn't hemorrhage rewrites during the filming and cause issues, and that's where the story can step on itself, right? And then it was really well performed because that actor is like a badass. And then Ethan Hawke does a great job in this movie. There's some characters that come off rough in the beginning that even get better as the story goes too. So I don't know, like just as a story, it really tonally, up there with like the Sixth Sense kind of feel, and then kind of a little bit of It maybe in
The
there.
first one?
The first one.
It was like, let's specify.
Yeah, the
this.
first one for sure. So man, I just can't recommend it enough. Like, it was an amazing sleeper hit. We've gone to see 2 horror movies with Flo this year, and then we saw that other one actually. We saw X, or X's.
It was just X.
Is it just
But
X?
Flo didn't go.
Flo didn't see that one. So The Cursed was really good. That was a really good supernatural flick. Black Phone is a really good flick. And then X's was
X was
okay.
pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was okay,
It's a little bit more art house, so you gotta kind of be willing to go with that. Whereas the other ones are more like classically really good movies.
Although they're both set in Black Phone and X are almost set in the exact same year. I think they're like a year or 2 apart from each other in setting.
Yeah, a bit of a fascination with the period pieces in Hollywood these days.
Well, I can't really do much with stupid kids and cell phones.
I know. Well, we'd mentioned that. We're like, yeah, you want to put kids in danger, you gotta take the cell phone away somehow. I don't know. Put them in the 80s. Put them in the 70s. Maybe early 90s.
Oh, all throughout the 90s.
Yeah, I don't know.
all through the 90s,
Clueless
basically.
was not like that was in the 90s firmly, and they had cell phones.
But who had cell phones
The-
in the 90s?
The rich kids. Let's see. I haven't watched a Marvel movie since the original Avengers. Well, that's like, was that the end of Phase 1?
The original Avenger?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now they're what, Phase 4?
Phase 4.
Yeah, it's getting to be a lot, so.
Getting
I
to
did
be.
not enjoy Kenobi, a Reva story. I have not watched it. I gave up on catching up on anything on Disney Plus. Like, we kind of watched it through YouTube by watching other people review it that I agree with. So, there's that. But man, like, yeah, I don't know. It's such a shame because Ewan McGregor's such an amazing actor.
Yeah.
And he made such a great Obi-Wan. Like,
Did.
he really brought a lovely class to the character.
They keep squandering them.
That's the thing, as far as I can tell, a lot of actors get their time and talent squandered in flicks these days. It's why it's so nice and refreshing to see like a really good movie come out, and you're like, oh, that was so good. Like and you get to watch like a genuine performance that is earned and is exciting and takes you with them. Hello, War Master, muted and broken. That must suck. Andrew, yeah, the third one was good, but entirely forgettable. There was an Ultra Dino, and I don't remember much else. Yeah, the new and bigger dinosaurs each time is like, it's silly. It's like, who is your audience?
My favorite was the Atrociraptor.
The Atrocir. Oh, God. That was the one that swam,
No,
right?
no, it's just little raptors. They're the ones in cages. Or
The laser raptor. So you're just making these up now?
Well, I mean, they have been for a while.
They don't just have velocity, now they cause atrocity. Instead of a velociraptor.
Who invited you?
I'm pretty sure that's what the name is.
That's probably the logic in like the round table room, and they're all shooting out ideas. All right, how can we make this more scary?
Yeah, it's like the, what is it, Velocipaster?
Oh my gosh, I do kind of want to see that one now because it's ridiculous.
Velocipaster followed by Llamageddon.
Llamageddon,
Llamageddon.
yes. Yes.
See, it's not like I don't love my bad movies too. It's just I need to know.
There has to be a class of bad.
Well,
There's a certain class of bad that's great.
The movie has to know what it is. If it's like, I'm going to be this amazing action adventure with heart and, really catch your heartstrings and tell you a cool story, and they lie to you, then that doesn't make for a good movie to me. Let's see, Rayvik, are you guys all up about the new releases? Or, let's see, are you guys all up about the new releases, or do you dip into the archives and watch movies from the 50s, 60s, 80s, etc.? Well,
We watch movies always.
Yeah, just from every
Era.
way. We watched Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
I watched that for the first time like a month ago. It's a delightful movie.
With,
Too
I
much
dove
music.
into some
With
old
Princess Leia's
Disney.
mom.
Princess Leia's mom, yeah. Exactly.
I dove into some old Disney and watched their version of the Three Musketeers and Rocketeer.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched Twister.
Yeah.
And Twister. The 90s had some gems. Twister is a dive into the rough.
Cheesy.
It's so
but it's got
cheesy.
Bill Paxton in it, so.
That's true. So does Titanic, which I keep forgetting. When I saw like some cutscene that was cut out of the movie on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, Bill Paxton's in it. So yeah, it's always nice to go back and see older movies, or even like really old classic movies too. Like I'll go down my little Audrey Hepburn or Diana Rigg rabbit holes sometimes. Let's see, War Master Mutant Broken, doing well. Let's see, I'm good, just waiting for my package of Mega Bloks Halo. So Black Phone is more cerebral, no gore. Oh, there's gore. I'm not gonna say there's no gore.
Not
But
an excessive
There's
amount.
blood, but
It's-
not much gore.
It's not an excessive amount of gore. It's not.
Seriously, it's just blood. Like, there's
Yeah.
no gore.
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's true. Like it's violent, and it's
But it's not
serious violence, but it's not
gory.
it's not gory. That's true. And so I think I was switching the two. So there's
Not
blood
like entrails and,
and
stuff
there's-
like that. It's
and there's realistic violence, and then yeah, it's not like Saw
But
or
even then, it's not excessive.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No, it's not excessive.
though it
It's
does
appropriate for the
it does
story, but it's,
mention Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
that's true. It does talk about it. It's an intense movie, but
Well, it's a
very
movie that
cerebral.
just come out in that universe, in that timeline.
Yep.
that's right. Let's see. I dip back. Marx Brothers, Hitchcock, ton of 80s and 90s.
Ooh,
Paul
I need
Knox.
some Hitchcock.
Well, and I take your recommendations, although, what the heck was it? Streets of Fire? That garbage movie that someone recommends. With that lady just getting freaking punched. Like, I just kept replaying it. It's like, how did they put this in a movie? What am I watching?
Although you did discover Hawk the Slayer.
I did Hawk the Slayer. That's true. That was a pretty amazing one. So I really appreciate that recommendation. So no, I just love movies because I love stories and I love seeing how stories are told. And I love dissecting how stories are told. And, you know, even when we went to LA, watching like how the filming of something will affect probably the final product, how a script can change from its original idea to what its final product is because of the collaborative nature of film and, you know, how you ride that. So it's a wild story, like where you start and where you end. Freaking Lost Boys is a fantastic example of a movie that turned out wildly different than it was intended.
It was
Better.
originally a
And
Peter
so much
Pan
better.
movie.
Yeah, it was originally a straight up Peter Pan movie,
And it was Joel Schumacher who suggested that it be about vampires, and he wanted to change it.
Yeah,
So
Joel's.
it's only as good as it is because of him.
Yeah, bless Schumacher's heart. Like, say we will about, what was it, Batman? Batman and Robin, that's right. But that was him having his hands tied. So he didn't even get to make the movie he wanted there. But in The Lost Boys, he actually made the movie he wanted there. And holy crap, did that
love
script
that movie
ever get
so much.
elevated. Because it's just so strange. But it's fascinating. And it's one of the things that a movie can
Also,
do.
it makes me homesick a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I guess those are your stomping grounds.
Yeah, I actually used to go visit the Santa Cruz Boardwalk a fair amount, so a lot of those rides are still there.
My friend John is from there. Yeah. No, it's one of those cool things where you get to see a story in a movie of something imaginative happening or fantastical or
Original.
wacky. Yeah, an
Original.
original idea. And so it's just...
There's been a lot of non-original ideas. Like, let's just rehash this. And just to see something original come out and be good is so refreshing.
It's eclectic, and I think we're gonna see a resurgence of that. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned on stream or anything before, but even before the French New Wave, that was when studios were only making rehashes of stories that were already told, books and Bible movies.
Epics.
Yeah, and that was all you were getting. And then the French New Wave came in with, I guess, the auteur theory.
Yeah.
Where the idea of like the director deciding like, this is the story I'm making, I'm not taking everyone else's opinion on it, this is just a singular view. And you know, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but they ended up coming out with some really cool cinema. And we're kind of in that time again where everything is a remake and everything's based on some book. They're pulling books from like the 40s and making movies about them now.
The Toro one, it was garbage. Everyone loved it. It's the one where he does the fake magic.
Oh,
what was the name of it? Something Alley or
Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare
That was
Alley.
it. Nightmare Alley, something about dog. Like those were both based on books from the
Dog.
something about dog. I don't know, I didn't watch it. But they were based on books from the 40s. And so yeah, like we're gonna start seeing, and movies are just too expensive to make in the Hollywood system right now. Like everything is bloated beyond blow, right? And yeah, I mean it's the glam rock right before the grunge era. So that's what I'm expecting. Andrew, I once shot an elephant in my pajamas. How it got in my pajamas, I'll never know. Michael Gray, if you want a modern, really good horror movie, Host, set during lockdown when friends tried to hold a Zoom-based seance, hilarity ensues. So Host, not The Host, based on the Stephanie Meyer book that was a plagiarism of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right? Talking about different movie, Host.
You can't say that too much, otherwise you got to get mad at Robert Rodriguez for making The Faculty, which is also a ripoff of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that one. I mean, how well was that Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, look at him. But, you know, he made really good movies too, like Desperado. I will have to check that out. Can't stand cell phones. They have their uses, but yeah, they do make movies hard. Let's see. They're on a metal rope bridges, and it's all fog around them, and then they hear stuff. That jogs your memory. Wow, I'm just seeing Flo's Citadel water pot. Has that been in the past few episodes?
Yeah. I've had it for at least, I don't know, probably going on a year.
Yeah.
It's terribly handy. I did hear the series was just Reva's series. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Which could be fine, except when you're promising something else by calling the show Kenobi. So there's
it's a show
that.
about how Obi-Wan Kenobi abandons Luke to go, take care of Leia.
Which I'm so tired. I'm bored. I'm bored of the abandonment timelines. Like, oh, okay, so you're taking Luke's later story, and you're like, I don't know, we'll just redo that, I guess. Like, cool. I'm glad nobody's like a unique character in the story anymore. But whatever. That's Star Wars drama. I don't want anything to do with it. Time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana.
That was pretty good.
I love the Velocipaster. It's so bad. Velocipaster is on Prime, I think. Oh, dang.
Uh-oh.
I recommended Velocipaster with an illicit substance. See, I take all my movies straight. Except when I was feeling under the weather one
With The
time
Rock.
with The Rock. That's right, when I watched The Rock because I was doing my Nicolas Cage. Luke Cage. Luke Cage is
He's the Marvel
that's
character.
the Marvel character.
Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage named his stage name after Luke Cage. That's where the Cage comes from.
Oh, how
His
about
last
that?
name is actually what's his name? Does the Godfather-
Coppola.
Coppola.
Coppola, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That's right. Luke Cage. It was an okay show, actually. Anyway, yeah, so Nicolas Cage. And I watched The Rock, and I had to stop during the chase scene through
San
San
Francisco.
Francisco because it was making me car sick. So there was that. But I wasn't actually on anything. I was just tired.
You're
See.
on sleep deprivation.
Sleep deprivation, yeah. Saw Singing in the Rain as a kid, and Rocketeer, and The Shadow. I watched TCM quite a bit. Oh, Darkman. Remember Darkman? Okay, I recently rewatched the 1987 Transformers movie and G.I. Joe movie. They were showing that at the theater the other day for its something anniversary.
35th, probably.
Yeah. There you go, 35th. It was fun being 11-year-old me again.
Yeah,
And
I
the
was having
Mel
a hard
Brooks
night.
films.
That's why I decided to do like Three Musketeers and Twister and Rocketeer.
Rocketeer.
Yeah, just watch all the ones I used to watch growing up.
Ah, so good. Lost Boys is getting a remake, I've heard.
No.
Nope,
Please don't. Just leave things alone.
they already screwed up the sequels. They don't need a
Put it on
remake.
the
That's
shelf.
right. There's
Put it on
like
the
how
shelf with
many?
Back to the Future on the do not touch shelf.
For real.
Was
Yeah.
that the Frog Brothers movies?
Yeah, there's like how many Lost Boys?
3 movies?
Because I don't think I saw the
There were
second, but I
3.
think we watched the
We
third.
own one of them.
Of course we do. So he'll dig in
I
like
saw
the
the
dollar
second.
bin at places. Be like, I don't know, this looks like some garbage. Let's watch this. And but I mean, I like Corey Feldman, so he's fine. Ah, yes, like the Fantastic Beasts series. I literally have no idea what's happening in the second movie. Not gonna watch the third. And based on the complete lack of online talk, no one else has. Ooh, that's rough. What's the
Well, I mean-
Dumbledore's Secret? That was the
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah,
Is that
they were like,
I know, it's like a
no
weird-
Johnny Depp, so we'll just make it all about Dumbledore.
But isn't it kind of a creepy notion to say like, hey, this movie we're making for little children called Dumbledore's Secret? I don't know. Like, I feel like I feel like Hollywood just needs to back the hell away from names like that.
There's 50 Shades of Dumbledore.
Oh God. It's just like a lemon party. Oh, why'd you get me started? Anyway. Sorry, guys.
No, she's not.
That went south. I blame the congestion. Jack Nicholson did the best live Joker, and Mark Hamill the best cartoon one. Mark Hamill made an amazing Joker voice acting. The freaking Batman animated series was one of the best animated series ever. The 90s was also a golden age of cartoons.
Yes.
Tiny Toons was solid, Animaniacs was solid, Darkwing Duck was solid,
Ren and
Earthworm Jim
Stimpy.
was solid.
Ren and Stimpy was solid.
Oh, Ren and Stimpy was so creepy. I don't know. I only ever watched Ren and Stimpy on the occasions we had stolen cable, so I don't really remember a lot of it. Same with Beavis and Butthead. Oh,
Liquid Television?
that was like MTV, right?
Yeah.
That was later for me as
Okay,
a
that was
teenager before we
90s.
had that. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, MTV had some great stuff, like the old music videos of the 90s. Like when you watch like the old Tool music videos, just whew, kind of innovative in and of themselves.
Speaking of Jurassic Park,
What? Speaking about?
the bass player to Tool worked on the dinosaurs in
Oh,
Jurassic
that's
Park.
right. Oh my gosh.
She left Jurassic Park, the production, to go be in a band called Tool.
Very talented people were getting together at the time. Sphere is a good original 90s movie. Samuel is in it and doesn't say MF once. His early career. It's like when you see him in, oh God, He was in the Coming to America, right?
Who was?
Samuel L. Jackson.
That was his first movie.
That
role.
was his first one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you see him in that and you're like, oh, you're not like taking over the whole scene with your like amazing charisma yet. It's like he hadn't honed that completely. Michael Scott saying, please God no to Toby. For real. Let's see, gotta shoot. Thanks for the stream. Bye, Michael, thanks for hanging out. Let's see, being up for 21 hours straight on 2 hours of sleep is essentially being drunk. Yes, it is very equivalent. Darkman was excellent, an homage to the pulp era heroes. And, you know, it was Sam Raimi, right? Like, good times.
And Liam Neeson.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't even realize till recently.
Oh, no?
I didn't know. He's an actor. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. There really is only one Lost Boys movie. True enough. Hi, Tommy. Great to hear all of your input tonight. I'm glad they invited you. Cameron Monaghan is still my favorite Joker. Are we talking about like the original like TV show, like Adam West? I guess I couldn't speak to that because I didn't really watch it. Beavis and Butthead is even funnier in today's times. I was a fan of Freakazoid. I remember Freakazoid.
Freakazoid.
Despite it getting
Wow.
canceled after season 2.
The Tick.
I'm as nostalgic for that one as Animaniacs and or Tiny Toons. No, Freakazoid was fun. That was I think they were back to back with Earthworm Jim, so. And I always loved Earthworm Jim.
Oh, the 90s, they even did I think a BattleTech cartoon.
Really?
No.
The 90s. I think they had the original DuckTales in the 90s also.
BattleTech
Oh,
or
yeah.
Starship Troopers now? Yeah,
DuckTales.
DuckTales was good. Rob Zombie also did the drug sequence in the Beavis and Butthead movie.
Yeah.
I think that was his first movie thing. Oh, Rob Zombie. Let's see. I still need to watch, technically, maybe eventually make myself watch more of his movies, but I couldn't make it through his El Super Bisto movie. It was giving me a headache, and I just had to turn it off. So, but I hear The Devil's Rejects is all right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I watched it after watching House of a Thousand Corpses. That's, you probably should, I guess. You can watch them separately, but it feels better watching it after watching House of a Thousand Corpses.
Sequential.
And also, I just love anything with Danny Trejo in it, so, you know.
Crichton wrote Jurassic Park. We've come full circle. He evidently also wrote Sphere. He wrote Congo, too. Like, Michael Crichton was prolific. DuckTales and Darkwing Duck were hand in hand. They were great. First season of Robotech. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
your kid was all over Robotech. Macross.
Yeah, which is the first.
That's the first
season.
one. And then what was the second?
Southern Cross.
Southern Cross.
And then
Okay.
Invid Invasion.
Yeah. I ended up missing, actually, most of those. I watched Transformers. Actually, I watched Beast Wars, which was them jumping into CGI animation. And it was, like, awkward. Everything was like an animal. And it wasn't great. But, you know, I watched that. I watched Street Shark.
It was like Sewer Sharks.
Sewer Shark was a game for the Sega CD, which was delightful and awful. It was like a decision-making, press X not to
Delightfully
die
awful
kind
is
of
kind of
game. Yeah. Oh man, I was not good. And it had all these cutscenes of live video of people. So there were all these cutscenes of just amazing acting. Oh, the Sega CD. Raimi only made Darkman because he couldn't get the rights to the Shadows, so he wrote his own superhero movie. Raimi, see, that's how you don't stop an artist, right? Like, all right, I'll take my ball and go home and make my own damn movie. So, the TV show, 1990s show, Pet and Pet. Yeah, I don't know that one. Batman the cartoon was the 90s, yep. Beast Wars. I'll take CGI that hasn't aged well. 500, please, Alex. Oh, gosh, Beast Wars. Zoids. Do I remember Zoids? I don't remember that one as much. There were like some of the earlier ones that were before my recollection, like Dino Riders. because my brother had all the toys. And so.
Has Voltron been mentioned yet? If we're going
No, we haven't
90s
seen
cartoons?
Voltron. I like Tailspin. Tailspin was
Aw,
fun.
Tailspin.
Yeah, those are just such fun adventures.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Hmm. Watched a lot of those. I'm trying to remember like what the weekday afternoon cartoons were. It's about 3:30, I think, was when all the cartoons kind of started until
Yeah.
like 5 or so. Beast Wars was bad CGI when it came out. Yeah, I mean they were using some out of the box things, I think. And by that I mean built into the software as a native object.
You mean like, what was the little dancing baby in that show?
Oh, Ally McBeal.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was part of a demo that came with 3D Studio Max at the time. That wasn't actually anything they built.
They're like, we're gonna build like seasons and seasons over this one thing. I don't know why I watched Ally McBeal. I don't know that in retrospect it was a good show, but it was fun to watch, I guess.
Never watched it.
It was just a comedy, you know.
Which is probably why I never watched it.
There is talk of a Zoids miniature game being developed, and I am here for it. Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I do.
Who were the Wheeled Warriors?
I mean, those were his buddies. It was a bunch. It was like Mad Max. It was
Oh.
like a Mad Max kind of cartoon. Like, I'm trying to remember who they fought. I want to say they fought these weird plant things or something, but I can't remember. It's kind of around the era of, was it Silverhawks or? There's another
Well,
one where
there's
they're in space and there's like, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Ooh, you're getting ahead of me. See, after Doc Strange 2, I took a look back at older movies and I came to the conclusion that I don't like Sam Raimi as much as I thought I did. He is kind of immature, so
Watch
you
The
got to
Quick
decide
and
to
the
like
Dead.
it. The Quick and that was
Yeah.
Sam Raimi. Oh yeah.
The Quick and the Dead is really
Okay,
good.
the Quick,
Western.
yeah. If you see the Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone and
With everybody.
Yeah.
With Leo, with
Leonardo DiCaprio,
what's his
with
name? Russell Crowe before he was anyone.
oh yeah, early Russell Crowe.
And then Gene Hackman.
There you go, Gene Hackman. I'm like, I was an old guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
and what is his name? Something Keith. There's a bunch of people. Lance Henriksen's in it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, The Quick and the Dead is a really well
Keith
done
David.
Western.
Keith David's in it.
Keith David, okay. Yeah, so maybe before throwing Sam Raimi out, give that a go, because that does not feel like typical Sam Raimi. Because I know what you
It kinda
mean.
does. Like his style's in there, but it's still a very good and solid Western.
Yeah, it's a serious movie. So, The Centurions. Those sound familiar, but I don't remember it.
Oh, I don't know that.
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, okay, I remember Gargoyles. And then, was it later? Was it early aughts when Batman Beyond came out? Because that one was actually pretty good, too.
Batman Beyond. That was 2000s, but that one was really good.
So Gargoyles was probably later 90s then.
I'm still 90s.
J. Alex, I recently showed my son Rojin Z, a delightful anime about a robotic hospital bed that goes rogue and turns into a full-blown battlesuit, wrecking its way through Tokyo. Oh, Japan. So many, like, early anime I've been totally fine with, and then, like, and then I wandered away from it. I'll mention Voltron because that and Robotech sparked my love for giant robots.
Yes.
Fair point, Kit. G Gundam, Chaotic Century, or New Century for the Zoids minigame? The answer is yes. TV show Pete and Pete. The end of the show, the music has the Jurassic Park theme. I don't remember that one. See, they did fight weird plant vehicle things regarding Wheeled Warriors. I think the guy was called something like Zorbos. Just put a Z in front of it. I watched Quick and the Dead, and actually, I think that's the one I liked. Okay, there you go. Don't forget about Brave Star and his transforming anthropomorphic horse, 3030. Oh my gosh,
Never
Brave Star.
watched it, but I know about it.
Gargoyles is quite surprisingly a Disney series. Disney was
Doing
doing
actually
great in the
decent
90s.
during then.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
Disney Renaissance.
No, yeah. Anymore, I'm just disenchanted by them, but
Anymore, they're just Mom from Futurama. Like, let's be real. Like, oh, we are so good. And then devour your soul. Mom.
All right.
Justice League and the Unlimited. Didn't see those. Let's see, that sounds like a Guilty Gear character I have a vague recollection of. Batman Beyond was good. Freaky episode where they think Bane is back, but then they find him in a care home almost dead. Brave Star was great. I didn't see, yeah. Good old cartoons. See, there's always stuff we can go back to, at least. No matter how disappointed we are with new things that come out. Just find box sets, find the physical media of, like, the shows you love. Like Xena and Hercules.
Or Buffy.
And Buffy.
That they should never remake.
I hope, I know, please don't remake Buffy, God. Please, no, they're talking about remaking Xena, too. It's like, just stop, please. just put the show from then just on now and just pretend you made it new again.
Shoot a new intro for it.
There you go. Clean up some of the CGI, whatever. I had rumor that there's supposed to be a live-action Thundercats in the works. Well, everyone's just gonna say they're excited for Cheetara, I'm sure. And I don't know, maybe? I mean, the Marvel series is adapted to live-action quite well, so we'll see. And especially with them, like, leaning into some of the sillier cartoony comic book elements.
Yeah.
Thundercats is already dead to me with the poorly drawn show they had. Oh, Andrew. Harsh words.
As long as they don't look like cats.
Oh, cats.
As long as they don't look Jellicle.
The Jellicle live-action cats. That's right. That was a movie, wasn't it? Oh, my Lanta, that was a movie. Oh, goodness. Well, on that note, we are probably going to wrap it up here. It's 8 o'clock. And, as usual, my movie chat I could just go on and on about. But do see Black Phone if you are interested in attending the theaters anytime soon. It is a delightful movie that just gives you a solid story.
Keep in mind, Miranda's a chicken, and she really enjoyed it. So, if you're a chicken, you can still go see it. We say it with love. I really do. I say it with love.
Let's see, Hard the Cat. Right. Yeah, so anyway. You guys all have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and happy hobbying.
Bye.